Well, it's great to be with all of you on this beautiful morning, together with our Women's Club, one of the great sources of energy and life at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Parish. For this coming year, Megan has selected the theme of resilience. And I thought that word is so evocative. We think of the journey of the last 18 months. And for those who have been able to navigate all that COVID has brought into our lives, resilience is not only a word that captures the past, but how we might see ourselves moving into the future to be resilient. In the dictionary, resilience is defined as the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Well, we've been all recovering, haven't we, from many difficulties. I think back to that second weekend in March. We had one of those unbelievable weekends here at OL. We had the championship games of roundball. We had the St. Patrick's Day party. We had a funeral Saturday morning, a wedding that afternoon, plus everything else going on. And I just happened to be looking at my email messages, and there was a message from the Cardinal saying that as of 6 p.m. this evening, all public activities in parishes must cease, churches must be secured until further notice. And I just couldn't, wrap my head around the consequences of all that. You try calling Pat Shea, who's the head of roundball, to say, "Oh, Pat, by the way, we're canceling roundball. Anyway, got to run." Click. We all had to deal with just arbitrary changes, and changes that affected every aspect of our lives. And that was only the beginning of months of changes. If you had a child that was in 8th grade or a high school senior or a college graduate, if you had to, God forbid, deal with the death or serious illness of a spouse or a loved one, all of these realities were impacted by the reality of COVID. But if there's one thing that I've learned is nothing stops. COVID has not stopped the joy that surrounds the birth of a baby or the joy of a child accomplishing a diploma. The reality of COVID has not stopped us from going as individuals, of having to face the challenges, having to think of new ways of staying connected, thinking of new and creative ways to keep our families going, to keep the mission of the parish moving forward, even though there was no playbook to look at as to how would you do any of the things that we normally do given the realities. Resilience. The ability to face difficulties and deal with them and to move forward. And I can't think of a more powerful example of the word resilience than the Blessed Mother, whose feast day, whose birthday we celebrate today. I might call the Vatican today, I have an idea for a new title for Mary, Our Lady of Resilience, because I'll even give Megan credit for that one. Because Mary's life is a story of resilience. We can't even imagine the circumstances in her life that she had to face. And she faced those difficulties and recovered and moved forward in her life, where she would be the vessel of the Son of God. She would be the one that he would find comfort and reassurance in. She was the one that those very first disciples found the courage to move forward as they were to carry on after our Lord's death and resurrection. And Mary stands as Our Lady of Resilience 2,000 years later. Every one of us knows what it's like when we pick up the rosary and start praying the Hail Mary, and there's something really going on in our lives that only we feel she can help us with. Her intercession continues to animate the life of the church. And her inspiration of resilience will animate the life of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And though earlier in the summer, I thought we had finally kind of turned the corner on COVID and it was sort of going to be in the rearview mirror. It obviously hasn't, and it continues to be a reality. But even with that, our life is once again, as a parish, emerging as the new program year begins. The Women's Club has a whole host of activities that will continue to bring us together, to open our consciousness to the larger world, to continue to grow together as a community, as a family of believers. And so today, on this beautiful feast day, we join Catholics around the world in praising God for the birth of Mary, Our Lady of Resilience.
Hello, OLPH. My name is Mary Lynn Januszewski, and I'm the Director of Finance and Operations at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Parish in Glenview, Illinois. And this message comes to you with heartfelt gratitude and thanks for your ongoing generosity and support of OLPH Parish. This overwhelming generosity allows us to continue to serve and to minister to the parish community in so many different ways. So thank you, OLPH, for all you do. You are much appreciated.